Yo YouTubers! WhiteBlade back again with the Machinima Q&A video. Now before I start though, I'd like to make mention on a few things. First off, as usual, I'd like to thank you all for the questions you've posted. As usual. How many times have I said usual? I don't know. I'll leave that to you. Second, if your question did not get answered, chances are it was either not related to any of my Machinima projects, or was already answered in another video. So if your question did not get answered here, don't go yelling at me. And third, I'll be sorting these videos based on the series in question. Example, SBZ videos in their own category, WhiteBlade's live questions with their own, and so on and so forth. In the video description, there will be a time code for when each category starts. So if you're only interested in one certain series, then you only have to click the code and boom, you're there. Alright, so without any more delays and such, let's begin the Machinima Q&A. Topic number 1 will be NewSBZ and the original Smash Bros. Zero. Since NewSBZ only have one question, that's really why I'm putting the two together. Any spoiler-related questions for NewSBZ will not be answered, whereas any for the original SBZ will be answered. Question 1. Why did you change the name of Zero to WhiteBlade? Truth be told, the name of Zero itself is very overdone. So overdone in fact, that's enough to make me want to groan every time I see another character with that name. Kinda redundant since Zero is part of my username, but who's complaining? As for why I changed it to WhiteBlade, I wanted something that seemed more username-ish, if that's even a word, yet still had something related to what interests me. So, I remembered Axel from the Mega Man X series, and decided to mix that with a similar word to sword, hence the blade part of the name. Question 2. Who was your favorite character in the old SBZ? I'd have to go with either Falcon X due to the plot twist I wrote for him, or the combination of Congo, Inklay, and Dr. Ariome, due to the three of them being the quote-unquote Three Stooges of the Virus Clan. Question 3. What music did you use for the opening of the original SBZ? To the End of the World by this guy on Newgrounds. It also said so in the descriptions of the opening videos to that series. Remember, a video description is everybody's friend, Grasshopper. Question 4. How were you originally going to finish SBZ? Grab some popcorn, kiddies, it's gonna be a long answer. I'll briefly explain what happens in each episode starting from 14 and ending at 20. Let's begin. Episode 14. A Match Made in Melee. Continuing from where episode 13 left off, the infected Allura starts her attack on Zero, who refuses to fight because she's his friend. But after all the beatings and such, Zero eventually starts fighting back. While she's in a stunned state, Zero starts charging the Flare Blade, which then sends Allura flying off the stage. And then, she comes back as she was before, back to normal. Vira and Nightblade then return in a rage, knowing that Zero has the power to stop them, whatever that is. Then they try to attack, but Allura fends them off, and then she and Zero exit the core. Vira then gives Nightblade something for his rematch against his brother. Meanwhile, at the Fountain of Dreams, the duo are reunited with Mutex and Hawk 5, who then tells Zero to return to the core and fight Vira and Nightblade alone. Allura, of course, is against the idea, but Zero accepts and heads back to the core. Episode 15. Nightblade's Choice. Zero re-enters the core with a juiced-up Nightblade waiting for him. The two brothers fight a 3-stock match, and Zero claims victory again. Nightblade is all confused as to why he can't win, and and then Zero goes on some speech about skill and so on or whatever. An enraged Vira returns and orders her two miscellaneous virus members to attack Zero. Nightblade then fends off the two Virus Clan members and informs Zero that he's now on his side. Nightblade then leaves the core, but without his brother knowing, Zero stays behind to fight Vira. Back at the Fountain of Dreams, Allura, Hawk5, and Mutex wait for Zero's return. But when Nightblade arrives instead, Allura goes on the attack. Hawk5 follows the two to make sure things don't get hairy, while Mutex continues to wait for Zero. Episode 16. Allura. Surprisingly, this is the only episode in the series that Zero does not appear in. Anyway, in Foreside, Allura challenges Nightblade to a match, and Nightblade won. Since she was now convinced that Nightblade was reformed, the duo, along with Hawk5, return to Fountain of Dreams, where Mutex continues to monitor Zero, and Flatzo returns to the fray. There, see? I told you Flatzo was gonna come back, didn't I? I sure hope you guys are happy. Anyway. While he's making conversation with Hawk5 and Nightblade, Allura finally admits, deep within, her feelings for Zero, and hopes that he returns safely. Episode 17. The Battle for the Net. Zero and Vira finally start their 4-stock 3-minute match. It was a close battle, but Vira clearly had the upper hand. With both at 1 stock left, she prepares to make him her servant, but then the timer runs out, resulting in the two going into a sudden death match. And to Zero's surprise, Vira didn't know what sudden death was, which resulted in her defeat. Returning to her original Samus body, Zero bids her farewell, but is then caught by Vira again. Episode 18. Team Zero versus the Virus Clan. Zero awakens from Vira's grab, only to find that she's now copied his character this time. She then informs him that she has resent her best troops after his friends, who are preparing to fight at any time. Simultaneously, the 6 total groups, Zero and Vira, Allura and Zalkin, Hawk5 and Falcon X, Nightblade and Congo, Flatzo and Inklay, and Mutex and Dr. Ariome decide on a 3-stock match and begin the fight. As the fights go on, Vira continues to taunt Zero, who starts losing confidence in himself. But as his friends win their fights, for some reason, they tell him that he can win and that he should never give up. Hearing their words, how I don't know, he defeats Vira again. Back in her Samus form, and fueled with great rage, she summons Inklay to resort to her backup plan, destroying the Super Smash Net itself. Episode 19. WhiteBladeZero. With only 10 minutes before Vira's self-destruct program detonates, Nightblade re-enters the core and gives Zero his ability to delete accounts. Don't ask. Combined with his Virus Eradicator ability, Zero has become WhiteBladeZero. Again, don't ask. Bidding farewell to his little brother, Nightblade lunges at Vira, who then drops a device that allows her to leave the core at any time, which Zero tosses out of the core. Enraged, Vira knocks Nightblade out of the core, leaving her fighting the souped-up Zero. After some DBZ-like corny speech, Zero defeats Vira permanently. Nightblade, somehow, returns after Zero returns to normal. With the crash program disabled, Zero decides to leave the core for good. Nightblade stays behind, for he knew what was to come. Back at Fountain of Dreams, the others are glad to see Zero return victorious. But then they wonder what happened to Nightblade. Just then, a Fox player known as the head admin arrives and informs the gang of the brothers' situation. Final episode, episode 20, One Last Challenge. Zero starts out with a voice-over monologue of his brother and Vira's evil intentions. He also talks about how everything in the servers have returned to normal, and everyone has gone back to their usual routines. And it turns out that after the Virus clan disbanded, the trio known as Congo, Inklay, and Dr. Ariome has switched to the good side. After the monologue, we find Zero and Alora sparring with each other. Then, Flatzo appears with a message for Zero, which was a challenger waiting for him at Final Destination. Whoop-de-doo. That challenger was... Wait for it. Wait for it. Super 64! And the episode and the series ends with multiple snapshots of the two having their match, with credits rolling in front of them. Now, just in case you were wondering, a few years back, I had asked Shippage himself if Super 64 could be in the finale, and he agreed to it. So don't go thinking that I was stealing Super 64 for popularity. Hell no! If Ship had said no, I would have redone that last part completely. Now, originally, I had also planned a second season for the series, which took place before Brawl's release. Initially, Inklay returns to the dark side, finds a way to reactivate Vira's account, and starts to cause trouble in the servers. Zero, along with the admin, attempt to fight the duo, but failed in the long run. Then the series moves on to the present day, meaning like a few weeks after Brawl's release. Everyone had transferred to Brawl, where more Vira and Inklay troubles were occurring. Sadly, I didn't finish writing the second season, so I don't know how I was going to finish it off. Okay, so except for that last question, that was a pretty short topic. So, topic number 2 will cover a day in WhiteBlade's life. Any spoiler-related questions will be answered here. Question 1, and I hope this voice doesn't insult anybody.
Are you going to do a remake of WhiteBlade's life and use your texture this time? Are you doing a remake?
No. WhiteBlade's life will not see a remake. Sorry, but that's the truth. Question 2. Was WhiteBlade and SSBB Girl supposed to fall in love in the series? As obvious as it may be, yes, they were. But I do want to point out a couple things. 1. SB and I do not know each other in real life. 2. In reality, she and I are just good friends, no further than that. 3rd, I mentioned the idea to her on Skype one day, and she was fine with the idea. Remember, in a machinima, the director can put in whatever he or she wants to put in, be it truth or fiction. And lastly, if you have a problem with a human and a non-human falling in love, take your hate someplace else, because I do not and will not put up with it. That's your problem, not mine. Question 3. How far would the relationship of Rob and Raz have gone? Oh, it goes far, I'll tell you that. It goes afar. For robots, at least. Question 4. Was there going to be a Mario character in the series? Question 5. In Episode 3, Part 3, what was Rob talking about when he told SSBB Girl not to go sneaking around? You know, I actually thought someone was going to catch on to what he was talking about. And I think instead of just telling you, I'll let you figure it out with this hint. There's a boy in one bed, a girl in another bed, and Rob is playing the protective parental role. I'm sure you can figure it out from there. Question 6. How are you planning on ending this series? I hope you still have some popcorn left over, cause we got another long answer coming. but I'll try to shorten this one for you all. So first off, this was going to be a 4-season machinima, but it then changed to 3 instead, along with a 4-episode prequel series. Allow me to briefly explain how each season was going to play out. First, there's the prequel series, The Days Before WhiteBlade's Life, which takes place long before Episode 1. It shows where WhiteBlade's hometown was, what it was like, and what his life was like. In short, his old life was a living hell. He couldn't run fast, he was often picked on by the other residents, and he had no real friends. He eventually leaves his home, his old town, to find a new life. That's where he met Rob, his crooked manufacturer, the Falco brothers, and Mayor J.B. Luigi. Soon enough, his new life in the town of Smashworld got him comfortable and up to speed. Now we go on to Season 1, holding a total of 8 episodes. This was mainly a get-to-know the character season, where there's no major plot or major story. Some side stories and such, but not what the series itself would reveal later. The only quote-unquote antagonists of the season were Pervio and his Ice Climbers. Next is Season 2, consisting of 7 episodes. Here we move on to the more major plot of the series. It starts by introducing the mysterious Darkblade, who is apparently the only one who runs as fast as WhiteBlade. Eventually, we also get the official introduction to Lucario, the Master of the Aura, who then trains WhiteBlade in combat, speed, and the ways of the Aura. Soon, Darkblade goes on an all-out assault, which forces Lucario to fend him off. Unfortunately, Darkblade reveals a transformation, which proves to be stronger than Lucario can handle. This, in turn, forces WhiteBlade to fight him alone with his own, now awakened, transformation, Aura WhiteBlade. The battle is fierce, but Darkblade soon has WhiteBlade on the ropes due to having more experience in his stronger form. At that moment, Rob saves his master by initiating his emergency self-destruct program upon the Dark Monster. And finally, we go to the 7-episode Season 3. It starts out with WhiteBlade and his friends learning that Darkblade and Rob still live, but now Rob is under a dark influence. A dark influence known as Lucario's younger brother, Morago, Master of Dark Aura. Lucario soon reveals the truth of WhiteBlade to the entire town. WhiteBlade and Darkblade were both clones, made by the DNA of the mayor of WhiteBlade's old hometown, mixed with the power of Aura. WhiteBlade was the failed prototype clone, whereas Darkblade was the perfected clone. Soon after, Pervio decides to fight alongside his rival, which then gets Rob back to his old self. Don't ask how, I didn't plan that far. In any case, Morago soon launches his attack with his Nega Aura army. Lucario, determined to stop his brother, challenges him to the death. Sadly, death is exactly what he got. Now more determined than ever, WhiteBlade fights Morago with all he's got. At the end of the fight, both Aura Masters unleash all of their power into one final attack, which the collision results in a blinding flash of light that engulfs the entire town. But when the light dies down, Morago and WhiteBlade disappeared. Lucario's spirit then informs SB that Morago's been defeated for good, but he can't pick up WhiteBlade's spirit anywhere. But she knows he's alright. She doesn't know how, but she knows he's alive. Alive and still running. Yeah, not so climactic ending, but then again, I never really planned the actual finale. So yeah. Honestly, I saw way too many similarities between WhiteBlade's life and Smash King, which was one big reason why I didn't see the series going anywhere. And sorry for that constant banging in the background if you hear it. That, for some reason, pipes running through my bedroom just do that whenever the heat's running. It's very annoying. In any case, I did make some older videos relating to the series, but never truly posted them. So, in the description box below, there will be links to a few videos I've done for the series. They'll be unlisted, so don't be surprised if you did not see them in your subscription box. And with that out of the way, oh brother. Topic 3 will cover the RPG project, Fire Within Shadow. Any spoiler type questions will not be answered here. Question 1. How did you come up with the plot for the RPG project? Some of it came from Tom Kitsune's Machinima Smash Fighter, whereas some came from Rost Black Dragon's old series, Daranto Gaiden. And somehow, some of it came from Wolf's Retarded Mission by Dexter Boy. Mainly the whole spaceship concept. Question 2. Did you know that Fire Within Shadow got an entire role-playing community addicted to Aurora Icefield? It has? Really?
I didn't know this would start an addiction.
And with that rather short topic out of the way, time for the final topic, which will cover any other Machinima questions that were not pointed at any particular series. Question 1. Have you ever taken part in a collab Machinima? Like a holiday special or something? Voice acted? Yes, once or twice. But filming, planning, and editing and such? Never have. Though me and 2 old friends of mine were gonna make a 3-way collab featuring characters from our Machinimas. Sadly, since they cancelled their series, the collab was called off. And sadly, my experiences with a collab haven't been that eventful. Good or bad. Question 2. How many Machinimas have you made thus far? In terms of full-length projects, cancelled and running, either 5 or 6. As for full projects, along with side videos, too many to count. Question 3. Out of all your Machinima projects, cancelled and in progress, which one is, or was, your favorite? Right now, probably new NewSBZ, due to how non-complicated it is. Fire Within Shadow would be on top, but it gets kinda annoying to put together, especially the battles and such. I almost want to exclude a few minor details and keep it as simple as I can. Question 4. Do you think you'll do a Machinima on the Wii U? I have my doubts right now because I don't know if I even want a Wii U. So don't count on it for a while. Or at all for that matter. Question 5. What do you think is most vital for a good quality Machinima? I think the top should be the plot, followed by the video quality, and then the sound quality. Only a few special effects are good enough, but too many effects can be a bit too much for the watcher to handle, I think. Question 6. What is your golden rule when it comes to Machinima? Don't do something you're not comfortable doing, and don't push yourself too hard. In short, just do things the way you think work, and don't let anything negative bring you down. Question 7. Out of all the characters in your Machinima projects, which ones do you hate the most? Honestly, that'll go to WhiteBlade in WhiteBlade's life, and Zero in the original SBZ. I'm not at all pleased with my vocal performances in those two at all. Ugh. Question 8. Have you ever thought of not voicing as the main protagonist, and instead be a supporting character or a villain? Well, I've always wanted to play a villain role. Matter of fact, I already am. And honestly, I don't know if I'll think of any newer ideas after NewSBZ and the RPG project. I'm thinking when those are done, maybe I'll be done. I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see whenever we cross that bridge. And lastly, but not leastly, question 9. What is the most common thing that frustrates you when filming Machinima? 2 words. Stage hazards.
What's the matter, scared?
And that is the end of the Machinima Q&A, everybody. Hopefully I answered your questions to satisfaction. So, until next time, YouTubers, on that note, I take my leave.